back at it again with Asana at these levels, guys. $3.6 billion valuation, $15. I think we have a good margin of safety here. Okay, so 20 minutes ago, they just got a downgrade. So that's why it's kind of falling today. They just got a downgrade. Ah, here it is. To reduce. Wow. They actually had some impressive earnings, but they're crashing the stock, huh? HSBC. Downgrades Asana to reduce from hold. Wow, shares are plunging. Okay. Reduce it to $10. They have a price target of $10 for this company. If it gets down to $10, I mean, this company would literally be, it would be free money. Okay, so HSBC wasn't even on the earnings call asking questions. All right, well, guys, let's look at ourselves. $15.41. Why do I think we have a great margin of safety at these levels? Well, number one, they got a huge share repurchase going right now. They spent $15.6 million buying a million shares at $15. So if the company just spent that much of their money to buy back their own shares, pretty much shows that they believe the company is undervalued. This company's been doing nothing for the past 3 years. Dustin Moskovich has been buying. I don't think he's buying all these shares to try and lose money. Stock is currently being shorted. 11% of those shares are sold short. I mean, check out the financials, guys. We'll do annual. Revenue has been improving year over year at an average 10% growth. The margins are high, 90% margins, funneling a lot of their money into research and development. It has been increasing. It's pretty much been increasing year over year, and also sales and marketing. They have been increasing sales and marketing year over year. Again, for a tech company, that is an investment. These are investments for the long term to improve their KPIs, to improve their customer growth. But under GAAP accounting, we are currently expensing all of this in that same year. So causing them to have negative operating income, and of course on the bottom line, causing them to have negative net income. They are currently on a trend to posting some good numbers. $470 million in cash, no debt. They have $38 million in debt. That's peanuts. Cash flow from operations is 14.9. That is a huge improvement from 3 years ago, where they were posting negative 160 million and also negative 83 million in 2022. So huge improvements. So you have two things going on. You have HSBC downgrading this company when the fundamentals are improving. The stock hasn't been doing anything pretty much for the past 3 to 4 years. It's been flat, but the fundamentals have been improving in the past 3 to 4 years. Positive free cash flow, lots of cash, no debt, total revenue still growing year over year, and also their core customers, people spending $5,000 or more, have been growing 10% at an average rate. And of course, they are also aggressively targeting customers in the $100,000 or more range, which is growing at a 20% growth rate. So they have some new products coming out. Asana AI is one of the main ones. Their workflow gallery will be releasing by this fall. Asana has a huge competitive advantage, especially to the stickiness of things. All right, so we'll go into moats real quick, but there are different types of moats that a company can sort of establish. So on their transcript, here's one of the biggest highlights right here. They currently just did a 3-year, 100 million plus contract renewal, one of their biggest customers. And so we'll talk about one of the biggest advantages of Asana. One of their biggest moats is switching costs. So there's different type of moats that a company can have. One of them is switching costs. So think about companies that are using Asana as a platform. Switching costs is the expenses, whether financial or non-financial, that a customer or business incurs when changing from one supplier, product, or service to another. So this is where Asana shines. Take a look at this. So when you take a look at their core customers spending $5,000 or more, it's growing at an average pace of 10%. Latest quarter, they posted 24,297 customers versus 22,162. That is up about 10% year over year. So it's in line with their growth. Now, this is the most important part, and this is where Asana is actually focusing on, which is customers spending $100,000 or more. Most recent quarter, 728 customers total versus 607. That is up 20% year over year. So average for the past 2 years is 20% growth on this segment right here, $100,000 or more in spending. Now, why is that important? That's important because the more customers they could acquire, especially in the bigger companies, the bigger the moat they could grow in their switching costs. So switching costs is one of the main moats out there. Switching costs are the expenses that a customer or business incurs if they have to change their supplier, if they have to change their products. All right. So imagine this huge business who's using Asana as the platform for their whole business. They have a ton of users. They have to train all those users. They have to train all their employees. So think about all the employees that have to use it, that have to sit there and learn on this whole platform. And it's a pretty difficult platform to use. All the tools that the employees have to learn. Now with the moat they have, the switching cost is important because it makes it harder for these giant businesses, especially the ones they are targeting, which is $100,000 or more in spending. Now it's going to make it harder for them to switch over to a new product, to a new service because of this switching cost moat that Asana generates. And so one of the major competitive advantages that Asana has is their switching cost moat. It makes it expensive, difficult, inconvenient for all these giant companies to switch over to a new product or to a new competitor. Why? Because they spend all this money, they spend all this time for their employees to sort of learn this platform. They spend so much time training all their employees, learning a new product. All of these costs can be financial, and Asana has this moat. They have a high switching cost moat. All the employees who have already learned this program are comfortable with it already. All of the users are familiar with the interface or the brand. Moving from one platform to another could cause disruption in the company. You could lose data in the process of switching. Think Apple's ecosystem, how they have iMessage, iCloud, you have your iPhone, everything's connected to your MacBook, to your iPhone, and it's hard for you to switch to an Android. Why would you want to switch to an Android when all your data is in the Apple network already? I feel like this is the same thing happening with Asana. They have huge switching costs. It takes a long time to learn their product, and it's hard for companies to sort of leave this enterprise already. Switching costs is one of the strongest moats out there. It keeps customers locked in and allowing for pricing power over time. You have to think about Asana as a long-term investment. Lots of money is being spent into sales and marketing, research and development. They are building switching cost moats. A competitor has to offer a dramatically better or cheaper solution to win customers over time. And that's hard for other companies to do if Asana can keep innovating. And so this is why I think you should ignore this 19%, 20% drawdown today. They posted pretty good earnings. I mean, they beat earnings per share by 154%. I mean, you also have a good margin of safety, $3.6 billion at $15.24. Remember, guys, the company is repurchasing their shares. Dustin Moskovich is buying. You have insider buyers, and they have hit positive free cash flow for the first time. They had some decent earnings, but for some reason, everyone's worried about all of this retention headwind, which I don't believe is true. I feel like Asana has a huge moat in their switching costs. I do think it is pretty undervalued. Let me know what you guys think. Asana, $3.6 billion valuation, switching costs, giant moat for this company, HSBC downgrade, retention headwinds. Remember, guys, none of this is financial advice. Invest at your own risk. This is a tech company, so it could be super volatile. But in my opinion, I think we have a great margin of safety around these prices. I guess we'll let time tell. We'll keep updating this stock. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And thanks again for watching. We will see you on the next one. Peace.